Hi, I'm Jana Henson.
And I'm Maggie Duffy.
And we're holding these mics because Gen Z likes it when we do it that way. And welcome to The Peanut Gallery, a Tampa Bay Arts Passport production. So Maggie, catch me up. What have you seen lately?
Man, I've been out and about and seeing some cool things lately.
And let's chat about it. What are these cool things?
Okay, well, Floridorama is always cool, no matter what. For those who don't know, it is a art meets technology museum attraction with a Florida narrative. And so they've added, all the installations were created by artists. So they've added 2 new ones. And one of them is a full room by Mize, and it's called Randomize. And it's completely 360, floor to ceiling, all the walls are his different designs. And it's super cool. And he's really known for his doodle style. So there's a lot of the doodles. There's a lot of just graphics that have fun messages. Mm-hmm. And then he even created a soundscape for it that sounds like city sounds.
Okay.
And then he even created a scent for it, which is,
What does Florida smell like, Maggie?
Right.
In
Suntan
your
lotion
words.
and beer. No, I don't know.
I think that's accurate. Also, the Wawa. Lately, I spent a lot of time by Del Mabry. So yeah.
Really? Okay, all right.
For those of you that don't know, Mize is like the dude in St. Pete. If you see murals, a lot of them are Mize. He's known for that. I know he's designed some bathrooms. Don't ask me where these bathrooms are. If you know, you know. But yeah, Mize is a guy to watch. And there's also an integration with the sculptor Bridget. Is it Kuvert?
Yes, I believe it's Kuvert. Yes, and Bridget is a mixed media assemblage artist, and actually all of her work is reflecting on chronic illness. But for Floridorama, she has actually created, helping them to deepen this lore they have, this mythological lore of this mermaid.
Okay, lore drop on us. Okay. What's the lore of Floridorama, Maggie?
All right. So Floridorama is it's centered around this Mermaid Star Hotel, motel, I think, actually. So the resident of the hotel is a mermaid named Pearl, but they didn't really have too much more about Pearl. So with Bridget's installations, she has 3 different installations. They're really like candy-like. It's like really poppy colors and beautiful like shells. She's helping them create the lore of Mermaidia, which is the land of mermaids.
And I totally did not know this. I saw on the site where it was talking about Mermaidia, and I've been to Floridorama before, but didn't know that there's this whole story behind it. And I feel a little ashamed as a mermaid girl. So, like there were horse girls growing up. Yes. I was very much a mermaid girl. Okay. So this is like right up my alley.
Totally.
I saw her sculptures, and like it seems like a ton of shells and really cool like Y2K bubble imagery. Yes. And that's really cool. I didn't know that she was touching on chronic illness as well, which is a really interesting conceit with like mermaids and
it is
illness. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, how she explained it is that, having this undersea world, she says when you have chronic illness, you are creating your own world. So the idea of this undersea world, sort of a different world that's right there below us, is sort of what appealed to her, and so she could relate to it. And so, yeah, it's a lot of pearls, and that if you look closely, there's actually pill capsules in one of the installations. Oh. And so one of them is in the mermaid dressing room. Mm-hmm. Have you been to that?
I haven't seen the exhibit, but I'm excited to go see it. There's also something coming up in July that I'll probably see at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's called 1 by 1, okay. And it's 72 artists and 144 individual 1 by 1 squares put together in this giant mural. So I'm super excited to see that. I'll swing by the mermaid exhibit and Mize and everybody while I'm there. And they're also doing, when they're opening on, I believe it's July 3rd, they're also doing a talk back or a connection with the artist on the 18th. That is also something that I might try to make it to. And I encourage you to make it there as well.
Yes.
What else have we seen?
Well, what else is coming up at Floridorama is a literary festival. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be in August. I believe it's August 22nd, and it's going to be with local authors. So that's really exciting because there had been the Times Festival of Reading for years, and then that went away. Mm-hmm. And I know people have been, hungry for a literary festival. So it's really cool that Floridorama is going to put one on in August. So I'm going
Awesome.
to be.
There's also been some pretty cool stuff going on at the MFA. We got a chance to see Alchemy, which
Yes.
was this amazing, amazing new exhibit by, let me make sure I get his name right,
No.
it is Ali Banisadr.
Right.
And he did The Alchemist of St. Pete. And do you want to talk a bit about that? About
Oh my
kind of
gosh.
the,
I loved that show.
yeah,
I thought that first of all, he's an Iranian artist
yeah,
and who moved here when he was 12 years old. So he saw like turmoil and war.
right.
And then, yeah,
The like Iran-Iraq war from, I believe it was in the 80s.
right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And so he came here. He actually became a graffiti artist.
Hmm.
And then he studied like, fine art.
Yeah.
To me, his work is like the continuation of art history. Like he draws from Hieronymus Bosch. He draws from all these literary influences too,
Hmm.
but he's created something that's so like advanced. It's like the continuation of art history is how I just think of
Yeah.
it.
What I really loved about it is that it looks incredibly abstract
Yeah.
until you come closer and you see that it kind of is in this little in-between space between kind of like abstraction and something that's more realized. And I think that's really cool. I recently saw an interview where he kind of remarked on that, about how the figures in his paintings are half human, half divine, half animal, half machine, and kind of speaks to kind of this like flux that people are in during times of war, and
Yeah.
how sometimes things aren't representative and sometimes things are. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think I watched that same video. He says like his art is like interested in the moment of transmutation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's exactly what you were saying. They're in flux.
Right.
So it was very exciting.
Something I've been seeing as sort of a common thread throughout the MFA's exhibits is this kind of like theme of transmutation and kind of things existing in the in-between, right?
Yeah.
So we recently saw there's another exhibit by Kaneko,
Yeah.
right?
That's at the Tampa Museum of Art.
Mhm.
It's June Kaneko, who is a leading contemporary ceramicist, and he makes massive sculptures out of clay, and he also makes massive paintings, and he is interested in the spaces between. So he does these incredible drips.
Yeah.
So he's got this one installation that it's like a panorama of like lines, all different colors that flow through, but really he is paying attention to the spaces between those lines.
And it really stuck with me because I think that, personally, I always look at these like transitional liminal spaces sort of in like a negative light, but both of these exhibits, I think, speak to the beauty of the in-between times,
Exactly.
right?
Yes, exactly. His exhibit is called Silence Before Sound.
Yeah.
And so it's looking at those quiet moments, those negative spaces, but the absence, can be greater than what's there. He makes these large sculptures called donga, which means dumpling in Japanese, and they're just these big things. I can't remember exactly where he lives in his studio. It's in the Midwest, but he has one of the largest kilns in North America. And he's still working. He's 83, I think, years old, and he's still working. He has assistants, but he is still out there making things every day. New things. In the Tampa Museum of Art has his newest work. So it's a really great show. It's an important show, and it's a real get for the museum.
Yes, and we should all be going to see it. Next up, we're going to be talking with the executive director of Powerstories Theater and getting into some recent stuff that we've seen.
Hey, my name is Jarrett, the owner of Palm Tree Content. Our main thing is called the Content Club. It is an organic system to give you 3 reels per week, and it makes you the go-to authority in your field. All you have to do is hang out with us like twice a month for a couple hours, and then we batch record, edit the videos, and we post for you. That's right, you just go about your day, rocking in your business, and stuff is going to start showing up on your social media feed. If you're not ready to invest in an ongoing relationship like that, totally cool. We do lots of a la carte services. We can do event coverage where we come out to an event you're doing and get you reels and photos. Obviously, we can do photo shoots, and I love doing weddings. If you're here about weddings, I would love to talk to you about doing photo and video. We call it hybrid coverage for your wedding.
And we're back here to talk about some plays that we've seen recently.
Yes.
Maggie, lay it on us.
Okay, so I have been to see A Streetcar Named Desire at the studio at 620, which, I'm very familiar with because it's Tennessee Williams. I think I read it in high school. And I always thought of the character of Blanche Dubois as I don't know, like she was flawed, obviously, but that it was unforgivable flaw.
Mhm.
But then when you so the play was written in 1947. So when you look at it in 2026, given all we know about mental health, this woman is in severe trauma.
Mhm.
And so I had the utmost sympathy for her. And so then I was immediately against Stanley.
Mhm.
But so it was just interesting to see that, framing it in a 2026 lens, how we need to help this woman.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the play.
I am. I actually never seen the play live, but I've read it and in high school, and then I've also seen the movie and absolutely love it. And that's what I love about seeing theater and seeing movies over and over, because even if the text itself doesn't change, you change and
Right.
society change, which makes it feel new every single time you approach it.
Definitely.
And to your point, I feel like there's a ton more compassion towards mental health issues. I don't think 10 years ago I would have been able to identify Blanche having a dissociative state, essentially, in a kind of a dissociative psychotic episode. I'm not a mental health professional. Don't want to diagnose guys, but there are some commonalities. Yeah,
Exactly.
you can kind of see it.
Right. And I shouldn't either. That's all a preface to say, but she's been through a lot. And I agree with you. I don't think 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I would have been thinking in that framework.
Mm-hmm.
So, and along those lines, I've also been to Danny and the Deep Blue Sea at Job Site Theater. And that is a 2-person play written by John Patrick Shanley, who wrote the movie Moonstruck.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Mine too.
We'll get into it later. That next episode, we're going to talk about Moonstruck for 18 minutes. Please,
let's go watch it together and
we should.
Okay,
great. Do that.
So you know how those, so you know how the couple in Moonstruck is, they're kind of volatile.
Yeah.
Well, the couple in this make them look very tame.
Mm-hmm.
So the couple in Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, and so there's some shocking revelations that come up, and the play, Job Site Theater's Schimberg Playhouse is super tiny.
Mm-hmm.
So when Roberta, the character Roberta, announces this thing that I won't say, but it's a sexual encounter of some type, and it was very shocking. There were people who actually left the theater, and one person was like, "What kind of play is this?" Audibly, in there. And so when I was talking to artistic director David Jenkins about it, though, later after I'd seen it, he's like, what? I can't believe people are so shocked by that, given that it's you've got all kinds of stuff on the internet, on Netflix, that's by choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were saying, I think it's because it's live theater.
Mm-hmm.
It just hits different because you're right there, and these people were so good at at acting.
You heard it here first. Live theater hits different, people. And I totally agree with that. There's a certain resonance in the room when another person is embodying this emotion, because I know personally when I've seen plays with really intense themes or really intense scenes, I feel like my body and my brain cannot tell the difference when someone is being highly emotional. And I think it's a really good reminder of the gravity of such events and the impact that it can have. Because as much as I love a movie, I'm a huge movie buff, there is that layer of protection that protects you from the story and the art. Yes, a movie can be emotionally resonant, but there's not somebody yelling and screaming and crying 2 feet away from you.
Right.
And that's why I love. That's the magic of live theater,
really
Maggie. So on my end, recently I had a chance to see Dream Child and the Trial of Alice in Wonderland over at Powerstories, and I loved a ton about the experience. The place was transformed into this kind of Wonderland themed seating arrangement. And at the center was Alice, right? And she's aboard this ship on her way to New York to attend the ceremony in honor of her fictional namesake in Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland.
Wow.
And what struck me about it is the characterization of Alice and how she actually plays off Lewis Carroll as a character, who, like, when he's not sitting on this toadstool, like the caterpillar, he's kind of circling the audience, kind of commenting on Alice's introspections. And occasionally he would stop and he would ask her point blank, "Who are you?" And at this point, I was like super shook, right? Because I assume that Alice is probably like in her 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
So like, aren't you supposed to figure it out
Yeah.
at that point? You know what I mean?
Right,
It's like, oh, like she's, nearing the end of her life.
Yes.
And she's still asking this question. How do you reckon with growth, change, shortcomings, setbacks when you are an Alice and maybe you are dealing with this version of you, the version that most people know that's been kind of fictionalized and crystallized and created in this ideal image. And I sat with it for a while. It's like I sat with the show for a couple of days and I was like, you know what? I feel like I am Alice, but I'm also like Lewis Carroll. I feel like it has this importance. The story is super important in the social media age when we are constructing these kind of fantastical, ideal images of ourselves.
Right.
And we kind of have to ask ourselves, who are you?
Right.
Lest we be 80 years old and still asking the question. So yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Just themes of identity and like, especially for someone who has been immortalized.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, how do you live up to that?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like Peter Pan syndrome or like maybe she was like stifled and she kind of felt that she couldn't grow because people would see her and only see Alice, or that was kind of her namesake. But there's this point in the play where she has to part with her original copy, the one that like Lewis Carroll like gifted her, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Lewis Carroll wrote Alice in Wonderland based off of a real girl he had a friendship with when she was growing up. He was actually like her tutor. So the aftermath of that is actually Alice in Wonderland because he would tell her and her sister's stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has to part with that original copy that he gifted her. And at the time, that was like the point where like I actually started to feel it. But after a couple of days, I was like, you know what? I think that she had to part with that ideal version of herself to truly move past it. And I kind of interpreted her arriving in New York at this ceremony as kind of this return as a true Alice. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I really loved it. It was performed and written by Roxanne Fay, who, if you are in the art scene, you will see her all around. So, if you see that name, you should probably go see it.
Go see it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk with the executive director of Powerstories, Claireann. Up next. And we're back, here with the Executive Artistic Director of Powerstories Studio, Claireann Despain. Hey, Claireann.
Hey.
So you have a show coming up, right? Predictor. Tell us about that.
Predictor is by Jennifer Blackmer, and it tells the true story of Meg Crane, who invented the home pregnancy test.
Wow.
It's a really exciting new piece of theater. I think it's been produced maybe 6 times in the United States.
Wow.
Most recently off-Broadway in New York. And something we're really excited about is Meg Crane herself will be joining us.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's super exciting. So when is this set? Home pregnancy test. When did those come about?
She worked on it in the 1960s. And something that's interesting and something that you learn over the course of the play is that Meg Crane was a graphic designer. She's an artist.
Wow.
Right? And she's hired by this pharmaceutical company, Organon, to kind of put flowers on things for women and manage their cosmetic line, especially their line that's related to like aloe.
Okay.
Like the plant?
Like the plant, like cosmetics,
Okay,
like
yeah.
aloe, skin,
Okay,
for that,
yeah.
Home care. That's what she's hired to do. But her office is in this house that is sort of off the main office building. And in the basement of the house are the rabbits. Now, how much do you know about how pregnancy tests used to work?
Zero.
Yeah. I know some old wives' tales. Yeah.
But you got to trust old wives.
Yeah.
Old wives know what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we pass knowledge, right? When when we're denied official channels. And actually the play touches on that a little bit, right?
Really?
Like how
Okay,
do women connect with each other and help each other through these things? But the rabbit house, so in the basement are these rabbits. And the way that a woman found out if she was pregnant was she went to the doctor. She gave a urine sample. The doctor would take that urine sample and it would go to a lab like one at Organon. And they would inject rabbits, female rabbits, with the urine of a pregnant woman or a woman wondering, right? Or a person with uterus wondering, right? And then they would kill the rabbit. And if the rabbit's ovaries responded, then they'd know, yes, pregnant.
Whoa.
That is insane. And this was happening like less than 60 years ago, right? Still happening.
yeah.
in the
Gosh, you're
60s,
asking
right?
me math. Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
Decades ago.
We're artists. We're not women. We don't do math.
Some do. And actually,
That's
Meg
true.
Crane had to.
Yeah.
That's part of the story.
Yeah.
Because of everything she had to do. But yeah, so... but at that point, they were bleeding rabbits in the basement, and she would have to listen to them scream.
Oh my gosh.
And so she's thinking about there's got to be a better way. This shouldn't take this long.
Right.
And she happens to see how the test is done, and she's like, oh, that's crazy simple. How do we get it in the hands of women at home?
Wow.
Yeah.
And so she sits and she realizes that it's a design problem.
Oh.
It's not a science problem. It's a design problem. And she realizes she can solve it with her skills as an artist, and she does.
Wow.
So it's an incredible story, and her fight to get it to market
Yeah.
really touches on the key things that we want to talk about. Right? Which are questions about, I don't know, women's control over their reproductive rights, questions of bodily autonomy, and of course, all of the resistance that she meets.
Yeah.
Those are all bubbling underneath,
Yeah.
right? Because she's dealing with the men who are in charge of the company who have concerns.
Right.
They're like, oh, this is a moral question. And she's like, well, really, it's a science question, right? Really, it's just about getting it out there. And so it's a beautiful story. And then it's interjected, it's interspersed because of when it's set, right? With these 60s game show moments.
Oh, I love that.
Like just jumps in and out. Like,
Yeah.
and it starts with the who made this?
Yeah.
You know, and that question is really what sparks the telling of the story.
Yeah.
And Meg realizing she needs to come forward and claim what she invented because she'd been erased, which
Wow.
happens so often. So that's Predictor,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And it's part of our whole season, which is Greater Good, right? Because as we were thinking about the season, we were like, what stories do we need to hear right now?
Yeah.
We need to hear these stories about women that are doing something amazing, something for people beyond themselves.
Something
For the greater good.
Yeah.
That's what we need right now, is that reminder.
Something amazing and something that requires you to, fortify yourself and assert yourself and step out of your comfort zone, which is something that I myself and a lot of people deal with, because she was a graphic designer going into this completely new situation and open to the challenges. And I think that is super empowering. So that's awesome. I love that you're producing that story now.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, so you have a season coming up. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, we've got the Greater Good season,
Yes.
right? So, not surprisingly, after that is another story about a woman who did something for the greater good. And that story is Conscience. I think most people have heard of Joe McCarthy. I'm not sure most people have heard about Margaret Chase Smith, who was the first female senator from Maine.
Oh, wow.
But she was also the only senator to speak out against Joe McCarthy on the Senate floor.
Wow.
And she knew she was risking her political career when she did it, and she did it anyway. And her speech is well known. It's called A Declaration of Conscience.
Yeah.
The Conscience is the story of Senator Chase's decision, like all of the things that went into it to take that step, because she believed that speaking up was what was needed for the greater good.
Yes.
Yes. And then our next show is a co-production with the studio at 620. We love, love, love our friends over there.
Yes.
And we're doing The Wash, which is about the 1881 Atlanta washerwomen's strike.
Wow.
Those women were not getting paid. And so they decided to do something about it. And it was the first, largest, and most successful labor organizing movement in the post-civil rights era.
Wow.
So we're really excited about that story. And then our final show is Raising 12 on a Nickel and a Prayer, which is by our founder, Friend Powers. And she has written a story about her mother's determination to have 12 kids.
Wow.
Wow.
And to raise kids who are going to go out and do something good in the world. So
I love it. And is this a new play? Is this a world premiere? Has it been produced before?
Powerstories has done it several times. It is a favorite of Powerstories supporters.
Yes.
And as once you encounter it, you start to see why.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, heartwarming story, perfect for the holidays, but also reminds us of what women contribute in the home has really far-reaching impacts outside of it.
Well, Claire, thank you so much for sharing. I think you have a beautifully shaped season, bookended by two stories that feel connected. We have a story that's about women's reproductive autonomy, and then we have another story bookending about a woman's reproductive autonomy. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for dropping by the Peanut Gallery.
I love the Peanut Gallery. Thank you for
you.
having me.
Thank you. See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.